Good evening, everyone. I'm Vishal Salsekar, and today we are going to cover the News Today articles for 7th November. So, in this discussion, we are going to cover 4 articles in detail, which includes the first article regarding the concept of universal basic income. So, right now, whatever disruptions are going on, whatever inequalities that we are observing right now, as far as the society is concerned, as far as different domains are concerned, so there are certain expert recommendation that one such concept which was previously propounded by economic survey, which is the concept of universal basic income, how that particular concept of universal basic income can ensure achieving to some extent parity in the society. The next article we are going to talk about is the written grounds mandatory in all the arrest cases that has been mentioned by Supreme Court. So in this particular recent judgment of Supreme Court, they have mentioned that without any exception, whatever kind of trials are going on, there should be written communication in the language understandable to that particular individual on which the prosecution is going on, and that should be communicated. If not, for the time being orally, and later on written things should be provided to that before presenting that individual in front of the magistrate. So we will discuss about the important articles involved in this, including Article 21, Article 22 in this particular context. Next is regarding transforming the food system. So when we are talking about the sustainability in that particular context, the food system is also one such thing which has the things to do with sustainability, ensuring a lot of things, whether it is about the greenhouse gas emission, because see, you know that when agriculture is part of this sustainability related things, and food system is basically based upon the agriculture, even if it is coming from certain animals in that particular context also, how that may be disruptive. So we are going to talk about that, why it is important to transform the food system. The last article we'll talk about the Pan India vulture population assessment of 2023-25. So in this we are going to talk about certain important species as far as the vultures are concerned, certain varieties of vulture, and along with that what are the issues with respect to vulture, and certain other observation that is mentioned by this population assessment. Having discussed about that, we will talk about in the places in news regarding Peru and then certain other quick updates. So let's start the discussion with the first article regarding the universal basic income. So the article is about redrawing the welfare architecture through the universal basic income. Now when we are talking about the universal basic income, that means it is some form of income that will be provided to individual. That means you are doing the monetary distribution, right? So from the perspective of GS paper 3, it is going to be important. GS paper 2, it is going to be important, because 3 May, it is going to ensure that the demand in the economy will be relevant. In the GS paper 2, it is relevant because from the perspective of the welfare policies, from the perspective of social justice, it is important, and that's why this article is going to be an important article from the perspective of today's discussion. So when we are talking about universal basic income, we have to deconstruct firstly that what these 3 terms include. So first, it is talking about the universal. That means the income should be provided to each and every individual without any exception. Means, for example, let's say if you are trying to target, let's say, vulnerable section of society, you will pick up a criteria that below this particular income, I'll give the monetary support to certain individual. But in this concept, it is talking about the universal. That means the universality is the most important thing as far as the distribution of the financial support will be there. So first is regarding the universality. Next is regarding basic. That means it's not about like it is going to give you a lot of money, but yes, for the basic sustenance based upon the poverty level की जितना poverty level के above आने के लिए required होता है, that particular amount is going to be provided. So it is going to fulfill your basic sustenance. That means whatever your daily needs are, those particular needs are going to be satisfied. And since it is income, that means it will be including the monetary support, right? That means it is giving you an opportunity to spend on which are your priority area, whether food, health, or whatever it is. It has to be you who are going to spend it, that means you yourself are an agency in that particular context. You can decide for your good that this particular money has to be spent upon. So this is the universal basic income. Now the conceptualization of universal basic income is not new. It was first proposed by the Economic Survey in 2016-17, which talked about that there should be this particular concept that might be relevant in the upcoming years. And this is a far ahead wala approach that at that point of time it was thought, but right now it is felt that it is a much needed concept that is needed in order to ensure to some extent parity in the society. Now what it is, basically, as I have already talked about, that it is the universal, which includes the principle of universality. It is unconditional because to each and everyone you are providing. You are not saying ki, if that individual is from deprived section, if this individual might be from the male, female, like this. No, there is a universality, there is a unconditionality. You are not attaching any condition with this. Along with that, you are giving the money. That means you are providing an opportunity to that individual to decide for that individual itself. That means agency. So these are the core principle based upon the universal basic income. Now in the universal basic income, if you have to write the definition, what it is, basically it will be a periodic unconditional cash transfer to all the citizen, without having any specific conditionalities attached. That means there is no such conditionalities needed. For example, you should be having certain certificate, you should be having certain other things. Just only one thing, that you are citizen. That's it. That will be more than sufficient in order to provide. But right now it is a concept. ऐसा नहीं है कि कोई scheme ऐसी already आ चुकी है, right? It is a concept. Now, right now, why we are talking about this particular concept that universal basic income is needed? So there are certain issues that the society or the economy is presently facing. The first is rising wealth inequality. So whether you talk about the Gini coefficient, whether you talk about the Oxfam's report, or whether you talk about any other type of criteria which is measuring inequality, it has been observed that in society there is rise of inequality. You might have seen certain reports ki 1% individuals are, or the rich individuals are possessing the wealth of, let's say, 40% जो entire nation का wealth है, or 50% like this, right? So what does it represent? It represents that there is a large inequality that the society is facing, and this gap is widening. Already government is doing a lot of initiatives, whether it is MG Narega, whether it is skill development, whether it is providing to some extent monetary support also, but this wealth inequality is still on rise. That means there is something which is needed in order to ensure the basic sustenance of the individual. That's why there is a need to provide some income to all the individuals so that basic sustenance can be achieved. Next is technology-led job displacement. You know that right now in the age of artificial intelligence, this is acting as a disruptor. Many of the jobs are getting lost because of this, and there are high chances that by 2030 there will be a lot of, in the millions, the jobs are going to be replaced. Now what kind of new jobs will arrive, that the time has to see, but the artificial intelligence, other than that, a lot of digitalization related things have automated a lot of tasks, and that particular thing leads to the displacement of job, and in that particular context it is acting as a shock for the individual who is earning money. And in that context, if you are not providing any kind of alternative or a buffer to think in that particular sense, it is going to disrupt the entire life of the individual. That's why this is an issue, and in order to plug that, universal basic income can act as a shock absorber. Next is growing income insecurity. Now right now, what type of jobs are being created more? The gig economy. What is the basic feature of gig economy? That means there is no such employer-employee relation to the main extent. What they are talking about, that there is certain firms that you are contractually working with them. You can work simultaneously for many other individuals. For example, let's say a driver or a rider basically might be having association with, let's say, Rapido also, Ola also, Uber also, maybe any other platform. So they are facing difficulty as far as the social security is concerned. They are having difficulty as far as regular income is concerned. That's why this universal basic income can provide a basic minimum aspect for that. Next is intensifying socio-environmental stress, the climate change, global warming, rise of greenhouse gases, all these things are causing to some extent impact on the employment, health, a lot of other things. That's why it is being talked about. In order to reduce the impact of these particular issues, the universal basic income can provide the help. Now talking about that where it has already been tried, so there are certain examples that you can also quote in your answer, that Finland, Kenya, where it has improved the health, food security, mental wellness. Why? Because see, if suppose if you do not have any avenue for let's say 2 months, if you know that there will be some income you are going to receive from the side of government unconditionally, and that particular income can help you for basic sustenance, that means the productive time you can utilize in order to find out the alternative as far as the employment is concerned. That's what is the importance of this universal basic income concept is, right? So in that particular sense, this can be a prominent concept. Now there can be a question regarding that, the concept, the basic core philosophy, and why it is needed right now. अभी तक हमने एनालिसिस नहीं किया है. Now let's come and discuss the analysis of this particular thing. Now you might have already got the concept. Now let's discuss about that, what are the arguments to favor and what are the opposite arguments regarding this. Now what are the benefits of the universal basic income? First, it is reducing the poverty. At least to some extent it is providing basic income to the household individuals को दे रही है, so that they can get the basic sustenance. So in that particular sense, it is reducing poverty, because that amount you are getting, that is bringing you above the poverty line, and that's how you can get the basic sustenance. Next is agency and choice. It is not providing you freebies. It is not providing you any sort of, let's say, good. It is providing you money. Now you have your empowered decision making facility, that where you want to spend, what are your basic needs, whether your dietary habit is something, whether you want to spend it on any other thing, you can decide. But this is, yes, a double-edged sword, because it can be positive also, it can be negative also. But yes, it is empowering the beneficiary to spend where they want most. Next is zero exclusion. Now if you have not kept any criteria, you are not excluding anyone. For example, let's say any scheme, if depending upon the socio-economic caste census, or maybe let's say any other type of identity card you are possessing. Now suppose because of any reason, if you are not having that ID card, there will be exclusion error. But here you are providing the income to all. That's why there is no such exclusion related issue. Next is shock protection. Because of any specific issue, suppose tomorrow you lose your job, in that case, this universal basic income can become the shock absorber that will ensure that you at least get the basic sustenance, and in the meanwhile, you can also look for certain alternative form of employment. Next is regarding the financial inclusion. So see, ऐसा तो नहीं है कि there will be a queue where the money is going to be distributed. It is going to be there in your account through the Jan Dhan Aadhaar mobile. So now when there will be this particular schema that is going to be utilized, there will be bank related utilization, there will be banking correspondents in the rural area. So all these things will work. So it encourages bank also, it boosts the banking correspondence viability, it eases the credit constraint, right? Because in your account now there is money that is there, right? And this will eventually fuel the economic cycle. Next is psychological security. At least in your mind you will be free that basic minimum income will be there, and you can now try to go for upskilling. होता है ना कि sometimes we are lacking with even the basic financial security. That's why we tend to think कि चलो we will do upskilling later on. Right now I'll try to ensure कि basic sustenance fulfill हो जाए. Here this psychological security will be there. Lastly, the administrative efficiency, because see, here there is no need to select any criteria, no need to go for the complex decision making, just a set of income provided to all. Now, जितना easy लग रहा है उतना easy है नहीं, because obviously there will be arguments against it. What are these? So first thing is कि suppose करो, if there is a monetary aspect provided to you, if I am giving you money on let's say monthly basis, will you be encouraged to work? The answer will be no. And when you are going to get free money, there will be rise of the wasteful expenditure, right? So these are two most important issues. So there will be rise of the wasteful expenditure on certain things which you might not be in the need for. Next is moral hazard. Now suppose करो if one is getting already money and that person wants कि भाई मैं बस खाना खा लूं, and whatever type of basic things that can be there with that amount of money. Would I want to work further if I am of this attitude? The answer is no. So in that case, it is going to create the moral hazard. It is going to reduce the people who want to work. They will try to think कि भाई चलो ठीक है, whatever is going on is good. So that is encouraging more and more dependency. Government is going to give me this money. That's fine, right? Then gender disparity. Now, generally, if you believe it or not, still the society is to some extent dominant, or there is the agency ke form mein. When we were talking about agency, still the men are dominating in many such field, and dominating, it's not a good thing, right? It's a bad thing, because in many such rural areas the women are not allowed to take the decisions, right? And in that particular sense, what's the issue that is going to be there? That entire money will be kept by the individual or the male, right? And in that case, that money will be utilized on certain other things which might not be even utilizable for the family. So in that case, isn't it going to create certain difficulty? So this is the major issue, right? So the women might not get say or lesser say in the spending that money. Then implementation burden. Now see, when you have to give this much amount to this much number of people, there will be stress on the banking systems, and many such people might not be still having their own bank account. There are many such accounts are there, but many such accounts are not operated at all. Many people are not aware how to operate, right? That's the issue. Then there is a fiscal risk, because suppose karo कि there will be maybe issue like, let's say if you are giving money and that particular money को access करने के लिए they had to go to, let's say, the rural to urban areas, so withdrawal के cost भी ज़्यादा हो जाएंगे. So that is also there, ठीक है. And also apart from that, maybe a chance कि suppose करो, if you have implemented one such scheme which is of this nature, do you think it will be at any point of time in future the people will allow to roll it back? The chances will be very, very less for this. Next is universality concern. Now see, you are also getting same money. The person who is not able to afford even the single meal is also getting the same money. I am assuming you are a wealthy individual. So in that case, दोनों को ही same amount मिल रहा है. Now the wealthy individual obviously do not need that money. So that's an issue because it is providing to everyone. But in that case, government का जो fund है, that is going to like spent on each and everyone. So that's why the rationalization is not there. Lastly is the market risk. So just assume a scenario. There is a lot of money in the market. When the money is going to increase a lot, but सामने से goods and services का supply नहीं बढ़ रहा है, right? And in that particular sense, more money is chasing lesser number of goods. That will create the inflation. So it will also give the rise to the inflation. And that might be impacting the value of the money itself. So these are the issues. So this is basically an idea regarding what exactly is universal basic income, the conditions attached to it. Apart from that, why presently we are in the need for such scheme and the analysis of it. Now, having discussed about this, what can be the solution? So there can be initially certain rationalization, certain priority areas or individuals can be targeted. Maybe the people with the differential abilities, maybe women, maybe the certain old age ke upar ke log, right? Or maybe income related criteria. So that's why some rationalization will be needed. So you have to provide certain solutions in this particular context in order to make this scheme more relevant and more utilizable rather than just a concept, right? So this is regarding the universal basic income. Next article is regarding the failure to supply the written grounds of arrest renders the arrest illegal, Supreme Court. That means if you are not furnishing to the individual who is arrested the grounds of arrest, and if that is not communicated to that individual in the written manner or not followed with the guidelines, that arrest will be illegal and the court can or the magistrate can relieve that particular individual. Now, and we are talking about this GS paper 2 related to police reform, protection of rights, constitutional safeguards, criminal justice system, even GS paper 1, because post independence there were certain reforms that had taken place regarding the criminal proceduring and the police. So what will be the impact of this thing on the society? That can be an important aspect. Now, talking about this, the case was the Mihir Rajesh Shah versus State of Maharashtra case. Now, in this particular case, what was the observation that was done or provided by the Supreme Court? We will discuss about that, but first let's discuss about what are the constitutional articles that are in question. First constitutional article is 22(1). Now, what is this 22(1)? Now, this is part of the part 3 of the Indian Constitution, which is the part of fundamental rights. Now, what this particular article says that the arrested person, whenever an individual is arrested, the grounds of arrest should be communicated to that particular individual in a written manner. So there should be information of the grounds of arrest. Along with that, there should be right to get represented. That means there will be legal system that will follow after this, so that individual will have the right to be represented, and also the legal counsel can be hired by that individual of his or her own choice. So that particular right is available as the part of the fundamental right that is available to the individual under Article 22 subclause 1. Now talking about this Article 21. So Article 21 talks about the right to life and liberty, personal liberty. What is this right to life and personal liberty? Basically this says that there cannot be this particular right, life and liberty, that cannot be taken away from the individual except the procedure established by law. And the interpretation has changed to now the due process of law. That means all those facets of life getting evolved by different Supreme Court judgments, and the aspect of the constitutional morality that also includes the pollution, that also includes the shelter, that also includes the privacy, that also includes multiple other facets including education and all. So these things should be available to the individual, that cannot be taken from the individual arbitrarily, right? So these are the constitutional articles that are there in this particular aspect in the news. Now what was the judgment that was provided? So in the judgment it was mentioned that there is a right to be informed regarding the grounds of arrest. That means you should be aware regarding why you are getting arrested, because if you are not aware, how your counsel is going to get prepared regarding which particular sections to be defended, right? And that's why before presenting to the magistrate, there is a need to communicate regarding the grounds of arrest. Now Article 22 already says that there should be information of the grounds of arrest to the individual who is getting arrested, but there were certain exceptions. For example, UAPA, Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, and other than that certain other criminal acts are there which are preventing or where exceptions can be made. Now the court have said ki bhai nahi, in all the such statutes or offenses along with those under the Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita, all such cases में the arrest के reasons have to be communicated, the grounds of arrest have to be communicated. Now next, talking about the exceptional circumstances, so it is mentioned that the exceptional circumstances may be, for example, what might be the exceptional circumstances? Suppose you are a police officer and you are witnessing कि भाई there is some crime that is happening, somebody is shooting some individual. Now obviously at that point of time you will not go and first communicate that individual in the written manner कि भाई देखो इसके लिए हम आपको पकड़ेंगे. No, you can arrest that individual at that point of time. After arrest you can communicate कि we have arrested you on these sections, and later on before presenting that particular accused person in front of the magistrate, 2 hours before that you have to ensure, because by that time you will get sufficient time, so you have to now give in the written format that what are the grounds of arrest. So that is needed to be communicated to the individual, right? So could be conveyed orally initially, but the written grounds must be conveyed within 2 hours before producing the accused of to the magistrate for the remand proceeding. And now why this is created? In order to create judicial balance कि भाई देखो ऐसा नहीं है कि police, if police is witnessing any crime, then the responsibility of police to arrest that individual, but then from the perspective of that individual, because maybe a chance कि that is not exactly the nature of crime, that might be even in the self defense, right? So in that cases you have to give or communicate that particular thing initially orally, but later on within 2 hours का जो टाइम पीरियड है जब मजिस्ट्रेट के सामने ले जाया जाना है, इन दैट पर्टिकुलर 2 hours के पहले यू हैव टू कम्युनिकेट दैट इंडिविजुअल इन द रिटन फॉर्मेट. नाउ व्हाट काइंड ऑफ रिटन थिंग? फॉर एग्जांपल दैट इंडिविजुअल माइट नॉट बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड लेट्स से तेलुगु एंड यू आर गिविंग देम इन तेलुगु, राइट? सो बेसिकली इन दैट पर्टिकुलर लैंग्वेज which is understandable to that individual, so the mode of communication is written and the language understandable by the arrestee. So that is also very, very important. That's how that individual can get to know that why I'm getting arrested and what are the charges that are framed against me. Now, what Supreme Court has said further, that if as the authority you are failing to ensure this particular thing, in that cases there will be violation that is considered regarding Article 21, and that will be a reason for giving the, let's say, bail to that particular individual. ठीक है, so that particular arrest can be held as the non-constitutional in nature. So the failure to furnish such information is violative of the fundamental rights, and then the court can decide accordingly. So that might be held as illegal also. Clear hai? So this is regarding the Mihir Rajesh Shah versus the state of Maharashtra case. Now see, UPSC had previously asked the question, obviously not exactly same, but Indian government has recently strengthened the anti-terrorism laws by amending the UAPA 1967 and NIA Act. Analyze these changes in the context of the prevailing security environment while discussing the scope and the reasons for opposing the UAPA by human rights organization in 2019. ठीक है, so like this, whenever there is amendment, whenever there are some substantial judgment like right to privacy, there were question asked regarding that. So similar manner में there can be question regarding the interpretation of these. Next is regarding the transforming food system crucial for solving climate, health, biodiversity and justice crisis. So see, it is being talked about that if you change the food system, a lot of things are dependent on that. It's not about only dietary habits or the nutritional things. It is even about your health. It is also about the biodiversity. It is also about the broader justice related thing. It is also talking about the sustainability, and that's why it is important very much from the GS paper 3's perspective. Food security, nutritional, agriculture, environmental sustainability, these are the topic where you can relate it with. Now, talking about what is this particular Eat Lancet Commission report, what is this particular report, what this report is talking about. So this report says कि भाई देखो, even if you are able to achieve, let's say, the non-fossil fuel based energy का जो generation करने के targets थे, even if you are going to achieve that, but because of the food system or the dietary habits, whether it is animal based or whether it is based on certain unsustainable habits, that is going to breach the Paris climate deal का जो टारगेट था 1.5 डिग्री सेल्सियस इंक्रीज को प्रिवेंशन करना है by 21st end of 21st century, and that particular target is going to be breached even because of the food habit or the dietary habit. That's why it is being talked about कि we have to think holistically. It is not only about one such thing, like for example reduction of the fossil fuel based energy. It is holistically about different aspects under it. Now when we talk about the food system, in that case, what is the food system? Food system starts from the very scratch when you are going to produce the food, the agriculture related things, right? So the production, processing, including the food processing, there is also utilization of energy. Then the distribution, there will be transportation, vehicle utilization, right? Then the consumption, obviously with the consumption, there will be certain waste generation also, certain gases generation also, along with that disposal with their economic, health, social and the environment impact. So whatever is related to the food, let's try to assume your daily scenario, what you are doing with food. Try to assume that what all processes it might have followed before reaching to you. So all these things becomes the part of the food system. So that's what is being highlighted by the Eat Lancet Commission report regarding the food system. Because of the food system, we are going to breach the target of 1.5 degree Celsius rise. Now, what this report is highlighting, it talks about that food drives 5 planetary boundary transgression, means there are 5 prominent principles with respect to keeping the intactness of this particular thing, कि हम ecosystem के जो capacity है उसको breach ना करें, and food is going to impact 5 out of them prominent things. For example, land system change. When you are doing agriculture, aren't you doing the deforestation and then utilizing that particular land for the agriculture? Historically, we have done that. So this is the land system change that is being done. So converting the forest area in the agricultural land. Next is talking about the biosphere integrity. So what is biosphere integrity? Basically a lot of facilities and services that we are getting from the biosphere, and that is acting in a single unit form. There is genetic diversity. There are a lot of other things, and what we are doing, for example, let's say if we have done the deforestation in one region, we are trying to increase the forest generation in another region. And what we are doing, we are trying to produce those particular crops which are easy to grow, because we want to show them कि भाई देखो हमने तो इतना green cover लगा दिया. But that is impacting this genetic diversity, that is impacting the biospheric integrity. Next is talking about freshwater change. Now, whether you do agriculture, whether you do mining, whether you do any other stuff with respect to this food, there is a change with respect to the fresh water. A lot of utilization. For example, 70% के अराउंड फ्रेश वाटर का यूटिलाइजेशन होता है फूड और एसोसिएटेड एस्पेक्ट में. व्हेन यू आर प्रोवाइडिंग सब्सिडीज फॉर द एग्रीकल्चर, excessive fresh water wastage is being observed in the food related things or the irrigation. Biogeochemical flows, that means the gases, for example nitrogen, for example that there are other minerals, chemicals, for example there is phosphorus, there is sulfur, there are many other issues that are being created because this, and that is impacting the biogeochemical flow. You might have seen the biogeochemical cycles, right? Last is regarding the greenhouse gases emission. So it is observed that roughly this food system is contributing to roughly 30% of greenhouse gases, whether it is carbon dioxide, whether it is oxides of nitrogen, whether it is oxides of sulfur, all of them are significantly increased on a yearly basis. Now, next, talking about the inequalities, this food system is also based to some extent based upon inequality, because see, those who are rich can afford a lot of varieties of food. Those who are poor are having, let's say, 2-course meal type of things, right? So in that particular sense, it is mentioned that richest 30% are causing more than 70% environmental pressure. देखो, जितनी अमीरी उतना ज्यादा diversity. And there is no offense attached to that, but yes, this is also going to put pressure on the environment, because you are having multiple things simultaneously, and this is not only about utilizing multiple things you can have, but then there are a lot chances that there will be waste with respect to that, and that is going to put a lot of pressure on the environment, along with that pressure on the land, agriculture, a lot of other things. Lastly, when we talk about the case of India, agriculture remains, because it is one of the largest employer. We can assume roughly 45% around population is directly or indirectly dependent on the agriculture, and अगर associated aspect देखें तो it is even more than that. A substantial amount of contribution to GDP, 15-16% से ज़्यादा contribution है. Apart from that, employment and also basically industries directly, indirectly for raw material, for other things are dependent on that, and that's why, since it is contributing substantially, that's why there is a need to put focus upon this particular things at the urgent manner. Now, talking about what are the key recommendation in order to transform this particular food system. So in that particular sense, first is regarding the planetary health diet. What is the planetary health diet? We have to ensure that we should be getting the nutritious food, but along with that we should be also reducing the environmental impact. So the report is suggesting that the dietary habit should be more focusing towards the cereal, more focusing towards certain type of things which are agricultural based, like the cereals, lentils and all, like whole grains, fruit, vegetable, nuts, and less on these dairy and the other things. Matlab small amount you can have, but yes, less intense upon that, because that is also causing a lot of issues with respect to the environmental impact. So this reducing environmental impact, reducing the nutritional deficiencies is important, but these things can help in order to do that. Next is talking about conserving agriculture or conservation agriculture. Means you do agriculture, but there should be soil conservation, there should be wastewater minimization, there should be the new technologies like drip irrigation and other new the other technological things that should be utilized in order to ensure the better dividends from agriculture. Continuous soil cover, mulching, crop diversification, which will replenish the soil with the different macro and micro nutrients, right? Lastly, integration of the food system across the key policy goal. Keeping agriculture and the food system also in mind when we are talking about at the certain major goals. For example, it's not only about reduction of the fossil fuel based GHG emission, it is also talking about the food related things. For example, when we talk about Paris Agreement, Kunming, Montreal global biodiversity, because if we are removing trees, that is also impacting biodiversity. If we are increasing greenhouse gas emission from the food system, it is also impacting the Paris Agreement. Global biodiversity frameworks, national and specific food diversity related guidelines and all, ठीक है, food based dietary habits. So these things are very important in order to ensure the sustainable food system at the global level. Now, talking about the previous year question that was based upon this, you can have an idea about this particular question in the context of India's preparation for the climate smart agriculture. Consider the following statement. There are 3 statements mentioned. I have already discussed previously one such time this question. Okay? So a similar question can again be seen and you can try to solve this type of question. Not exactly same, which is the topics need, but yes, to some extent it is giving you an idea that how UPSC is asking questions. Next is talking about the Wildlife Institute of India releases its first pan-India assessment and the monitoring of the endangered species of vulture. Now, when we are talking about any specific species, obviously it is going to be impacting the biodiversity. That's why GS paper 3 it is important, biodiversity conservation strategies. Then GS paper 2, because there are certain conventions, for example, there is CITES, there is IUCN, there is CMS for the migratory species, right? So these conventions are there, and that's why also from IR perspective it is important, international conventions, right? So that's why we have to see regarding what are the things that are being observed regarding this particular report, right? So what are the major findings in this regarding the vulture? So see, India is hosting 9 varieties of vulture. 4 out of them are the critical endangered, and in this particular assessment there is assessment of these 4 critically endangered vulture. What are these particular critically endangered species? And from prelims perspective, it can be a very, very important fact. This is white-rumped vulture, Indian vulture, slandered bill vulture, and the red-headed vulture. These are the 4 which are in the form of the critically endangered vultures in India. Now, talking about the geographic scope, this report also gives an idea regarding the geographical scope, मतलब कहाँ पाए जाते हैं. So, vulture presence is at 216 sites in the 17 states. Presently, it has been observed in the 216 sites in the 17 states. Now, there are certain critical highlights also being provided by this report. It says that there is a contraction of the range. That means the vulture which used to be present previously across the country, now they are limited to certain patches. When we are talking about 17 states, obviously not all states are there, right? So right now there is absence of the nesting in nearly 70% of the historical sites. Matlab, previously they used to be available at those sites. There is a 70% reduction of those historical sites. That means right now there are no vulture population that is available on those particular hotspots. Now it's not talking about the state में 70%. Do not ask कि भाई 70% तो state का reduction है ही नहीं यहाँ पे. It's about the sites. There can be multiple sites within one state, right? Now, dependence किस पर है? Dependence is on the protected areas, because those areas which are designated for the conservation of vultures, those particular areas में there is more availability of the vulture, that is holding 54% of the documented nest. That means जहाँ conserve कर रहे हैं, they are mainly surviving, but many other places पे there is impact to the vulture. Now, talking about the specific findings, first it is talking about the Indian vulture. All 4 we are talking about. First, Indian vulture, critically endangered. It is found in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. Question can be there that this range of the Indian vulture, it is there in the Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. Specifically in Rajasthan, largest in the Mukundra Hills near Kota region, right? Now, that is reliant on the secure cliff side where it is found generally, right? So, it is regarding the Indian vulture. Next is the white-rumped vulture. It is concentrated mainly in Kangra Valley, Himachal Pradesh, right? So, where white-rumped vulture is generally found, Kangra Valley, Himachal Pradesh. Slandered bill vulture, Upper Assam, which is the nesting site for them. Lastly, red-headed vulture, mainly Madhya Pradesh, which is depend on the dense and the undisturbed forest. Matlab, undisturbed forest are the prominent region. So, these are the region associated with the vultures which were part of the assessment of this particular report, right? Now, talking about the vultures in India, so this is the image that gives you an idea regarding which of the vulture are in the critically endangered, which are in the endangered, which are the threatened state, near threatened, least concerned, right? So see, we have discussed about 4 which are in the critically endangered: white-rumped vulture, slandered billed, Indian vulture, and the red-headed vulture. All of them are critically endangered. Then the bearded vulture, near threatened, cinereous vulture, near threatened, Himalayan griffon, near threatened, then griffon vulture, least concern, and the Egyptian vulture, which is endangered. So almost different variety of vultures are there, and which are having different type of endangerment status. What is critically endangered? Matlab, they, if not protected further, they will extinct also. Least concerned में कि their substantial population is available, they are not more concerned. Endangered में if the protection is not there, they may be critically endangered, उनकी population substantially is getting declined. Near threatened में कि right now their threat is there, but they are protected from that. But if the threat is going to get increased, the population is going to substantially decline. So the threat is very near. So this is regarding the 9 vulture types that are mainly found in India. Now talking about the vulture specifically, what type of birds are these? These are the birds which are also known as the carrion eating birds. So they are feed up upon the carcasses of the died animals and maybe any other type of things. ठीक है, so mainly found in the tropical and the subtropical region. Importance क्या है? Since they are feeding upon the carcasses, right, dead and decayed animals, so in that context it is cleaning environment. ठीक है, so they are also acting as a scavengers, right? So they are cleaning environment, consuming the carcasses, right, controlling the wildlife disease. For example, suppose karo if there is the carcass that is lying, right, and that might cause a lot of bacterial generation, that might cause a lot of issues with respect to that filthy condition, and the vultures are preventing from that. Now what is the conservation status? Schedule 1 under the Wildlife Protection Act. Talking about the threats, what are the threats? We have talked about the habitat loss, like their regions which were previously undisturbed forest, now those forests are getting deforested. Habitat loss. Food scarcity, many of the people are not now providing certain, मतलब जो animals थे उनको बाहर फेंकते हैं, so they are being slaughtered and then they are being utilized as a part of the food system, so that is impacting their food security. Diclofenac poisoning and many other similar type of the medicines were being administered to certain animals, and that is acting a poison for these particular vultures, because when the vultures are getting feed upon these diclofenac utilized animals, and that particular diclofenac is generally utilized in order to prevent the animals from certain disease. It is basically anti-inflammatory type of drug, right? And when the vultures are eating upon that, it is causing issues with respect to the kidneys of the vulture. Lastly, electrocution. So generally in order to protect your region, you are doing the electrocution, and that is also impacting the vulture population. Even the constructions, even the barbed wire, even the light wire, that is the impacting aspect for the vultures. Talking about the conservation initiative, there is a ban that is imposed on the utilization of diclofenac, ketoprofen and the aceclofenac, right? So that is there. Apart from that action plan for the vulture conservation, there are Jatayu conservation related things that were there. There are even the vulture cafes were created where the carcasses were provided so that the vulture can come feed up upon that, and that are basically tested upon this diclofenac, they are not infected from diclofenac, right? So these are the things. Now talking about this, a previous year question which is talking about which vulture which used to be very common in the countryside some years ago are rarely seen nowadays. This attributed to, the reasons are mentioned, you have to tell. We have already discussed about this. Okay. So having discussed about this, next is the places in news. Now for today, the places is in news is Peru. The capital city of Peru is Lima, right? So you can see the geography of Peru. Now see, this is the region. Now on the western side of Peru, there is Pacific Ocean. On the northern side, if you see, there is Ecuador and Colombia. On the eastern side, you will see Brazil and Bolivia. And on the southern side, you will see Chile, right? So this is the geography of Peru. Along with that, you can see that there are certain other prominent things that can be seen from here. For example, this is divided into 3 longitudinal regions. For example, when you see first, it is the coastal region. So that particular region is known as Costa. It is the division which is for the coastal plains. Next is the Sierra, because Andes mountains passes through here. So next is the Sierra, which is the Andes highland, right? So Andes की वजह से जो highlands created है, that is Andes highland. That is the second longitudinal region. Third is Amazonia, which is the Selva region, which is the contiguous region with Brazil, जहाँ पर Amazon forest or the patches of Amazon forest are there. So 3 longitudinal division that is there with this particular country, Peru. Highest peak is Mount Huascarán, right? Next is Lake Titicaca, which is a lake between this Peru and Bolivia. You can see this particular lake if you are able to see over here. So this is the Lake Titicaca. It is one of the highest lakes of the world, highest navigable lake hai, theek hai, shared with the Bolivia. So there can be a probable prelims question. Next is regarding India, third largest trading partner in the Latin American and the Caribbean region, which includes the Latin America and the Caribbean countries. In this entire region, it is the third largest trading partner of India. And also along with that, it provides a lot of market, right? So there are, along with Brazil, countries like Argentina, Peru, Chile, these countries are also very, very important. Along with that, India is key importer of the Peruvian gold, copper. These are the further imports that India is having from the region of Peru. ठीक है. So these are the things. Along with that, you might have heard of one grouping which is known as Mercosur. So though Peru is not a member of Mercosur, it is an associate member, and India is having the free trade agreement with Mercosur. And now, right now, the context is that the 9th round of the India-Peru free trade agreement negotiations were successfully concluded in Peru. That's why we have discussed the article regarding Peru. And this is the important country in this Latin American region, and this is considered as the last frontier of the India's foreign policy. So there can be a comparatively better relations with the other countries in the region if there are certain anchor countries. Peru can be one such country, right? So having discussed about the places in news, now let's discuss quick updates. The first news is regarding the Controller and the Auditor General. The context is that CAG of India has granted in principle approval for the creation of two new specialized cadre, which is for the audit obviously, the Central Revenue Audit cadre and the Central Expenditure Audit cadre for more centralization, right? So when these particular specialized services are being created for the audit, this is going to improve upon the audit related scenario, and that's why it is important. So regarding that, the CAG is important. So certain important provision regarding CAG, what type of body it is? It is a constitutional body under Article 148 of the Indian Constitution. Next is talking about who is appointing. It is by president. Who is removing? It is by president. But the removal process is similar to the removal of the judge of the Supreme Court. ठीक है? So president can remove, but on the grounds of the Supreme Court judge के जो grounds है, similar grounds will be utilized. Now what is the term? 6 years or until reaches the 65 years of age. Now conditions of service क्या है? That condition of service will be decided by Parliament, but cannot be put to its disadvantage, right? Cannot be altered to put the disadvantage. मतलब it cannot be changed to in order to provide certain challenges to CAG. Now what about the expenses, salaries and other expenses? It is charged upon the Consolidated Fund of India. That means they are not subjected to vote. So this is regarding the CAG. Next is regarding the Arbitration and the Conciliation Act. So Supreme Court recently held that if the arbitration ka award is going to be delayed, so in that case it can be even scrapped. So arbitral award could be scrapped if the delay taints the decision making. अगर delay होगा, because what delay does? Delay basically makes the quality impact. Delay makes impact with respect to reasoning. Delay makes impact with respect to the fairness. So the award could be even scrapped अगर unnecessary delay होता है तो. Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996 में आया, based upon the यूनाइटेड नेशंस कमीशन ऑन द इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड एंड लॉ का जो मॉडल लॉ था उसके बेसिस पे 1985 के लॉ के बेसिस पे. नाउ व्हाट इज द प्रोसेस ऑफ आर्बिट्रेशन? बेसिकली टू पार्टीज बोथ डिसाइड दैट दे go for the arbitration in order to settle a dispute. So to consolidate and amend the law relating to the domestic arbitration, international commercial arbitration, enforcement of the foreign arbitral awards. So this particular Arbitration and the Conciliation Act was there. It is the alternative dispute resolution mechanism. Next is regarding the Abraham Accords. So in 2020 there was Abraham Accords were signed between certain countries, which includes Israel and certain moderate Arab countries, which include UAE, Bahrain, Morocco. Why? In order to improve the security scenario in this particular region, in order to reduce the conflict between the countries and boost up the trade and other things, right? So recently US President confirmed that the Kazakhstan would be the new partner of the Abraham Accord. Question can be asked like whether Saudi Arabia is member. Still no, right? So abhi tak Saudi Arabia, Syria, these countries have not acceded to the Abraham Accord. So who mediated? Obviously United States. So in order to diffuse the tension in the Middle Eastern country by normalizing relation between whom? Normalizing relation between Israel and the modern Arab country. Now moderate Arab countries. Abraham Accord, the name is derived from the common ancestors that as per the biblical record, the common ancestor Abraham for the Jewish people also and for the Arab people also, right? Next is regarding insolvency and the bankruptcy code and the prevention of the money laundering act, right? So recently there have been certain issues observed because of the conflicting jurisdiction of these two acts, because see, insolvency and the bankruptcy code is providing for maximization of the asset value, and this PMLA, which is prevention of money laundering act, is providing powers, for example, to the bodies like ED in order to attach the property so that the person who has in possession of that property cannot sell that. So the contradiction is there, and that's why in order to resolve that contradiction, now what is being suggested कि भाई insolvency professionals can now reach to the special PMLA court in order to get the unfreezing of the asset. तभी तो बेच सकते, right? If the asset is freezed, that cannot be sold, right? Rather than going for the NCLT, for the National Company Law Tribunal, for the resolution. Now IBC का mandate क्या है? In order to maximize the asset value, minimize the liquidation of that particular asset, including the time bound resolution. PMLA क्या करता है? In order to attach that particular property so that that proceeds of the crime cannot be utilized in order to generate wealth. So these both are the non-obstante clause. They have the non-obstante clause. What is this? Means if they are having jurisdiction on something, if there is any other jurisdiction of any other act, that will not be applicable. So their jurisdiction will override the other's jurisdiction on that. But both of them are having, that's why the conflict is arising. Next is GPS spoofing. So in very simple term, GPS spoofing is in order to fool the GPS. Matlab you will be exactly mimicking like the GPS. The signal will be superimposed. So you will be guided by someone who is manipulating the weak GPS signals. So why you might be thinking why it is being done and how it is being done. There is a process attached to that the signal can be superimposed over the existing weak signals, and that is being done in order to misguide certain things. For example, whether defense equipments, whether airlines, whether fighter aircraft, in order to take the advantage. So their airlines have reported surge in the GPS spoofing cases over the Delhi, triggering the government investigation over the unusual navigation disruption. Suppose if the flight is about to land to Delhi and they are showing कि भाई runway is not on this side, on this side, and that might lead to the issues with respect to that landing, right? So it is a type of cyber attack that transmits false GPS signal and that misleads the navigation, exploit the weak GPS signal by overpowering them with the fake signals to show the false location, right? It can disrupt aviation, logistic, telecom, energy, defense, etc. Next is regarding FAC recommendations on the Van Sanrakshan Evam Samvardhan Adhiniyam. So Forest Advisory Committee has recently recommended regarding the violation of the Van Sanrakshan Adhiniyam 1980. So this is basically in order to provide ki what will be the penal provision agar ye violate hota hai to. So there is a provision for the penal compensatory afforestation. Matlab if you have diverted the forest region for the non-forest purposes, obviously there is a process of the compensatory afforestation. But if you have done that without following the law, there is a penal provision also, so that will be additional to the mandatory compulsory जो afforestation है उसके अलावा आपको penal provisions भी रहेंगे. Next is to rationalize the applicability of the penal compensatory afforestation apart from that net present value measure. मतलब you will calculate the asset value of the entire forest कि there is biodiversity also, there is forest trees also, woods also. All these things have this much value, so ये भी calculate करना है and applicability of this also in this. Net present value क्या है? Quantification of the environment services that it is going to provide. It is holding biodiversity, it is holding rivers, it is holding a lot of other things. So all these things have to be incorporated in that. Next is regarding the state of the climate update COP30. So the state of the climate update for the COP30 report has been released by the World Meteorological Organization. A simple prelims based question can be asked like this. Now, what are the observation? It is simply saying that over a period of time, it has been observed that the hottest year is again and again increasing. Matlab, for example, previously, let's say 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 2025, maybe they are saying it is either second or the third warmest year that have been ever recorded. So the target that we have kept ki 1.5 degrees Celsius increment of the global average temperature को हमको इंश्योर करना है by the end of this particular century. This is not on track. And obviously like this, we have seen multiple articles which are claiming that. It is being observed that 2015 से 25, there are 11 years. So these 11 are the most warm years, 11 years out of 176 years that is being highlighted by the report. Now, what it is mentioning that the atmospheric concentration of the CO2, methane, N2O has reached to the record level in 2024 and continue to rise in 2025. Lastly, renewable energy is expanding. That is good thing. Apart from that, action plans are there, which is increasingly based upon the informed aspect from the scientific community. But still, there are a lot things to be done in order to prevent the temperature rise. So this is regarding state of the climate update COP30. Next is regarding the Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, the last one, right? We have already discussed 2-3 times in the form of the detailed discussion Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, because 2025 mein it has completed 10 years. Recently, the context is Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship have blacklisted 178 training partners. 2015 में लॉन्च हुआ. द नोडल मिनिस्ट्री इज द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ स्किल डेवलपमेंट एंड एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप फॉर द स्किल सर्टिफिकेशन रिकॉग्नाइजिंग द प्रायर लर्निंग विद रिस्पेक्ट टू स्किल्स. प्रेजेंटली प्रधानमंत्री कौशल विकास योजना 4.0 इज द थिंग विच इज गोइंग ऑन. शॉर्ट टर्म ट्रेनिंग प्रोवाइड करता है फॉर द नेशनल स्किल क्वालिफिकेशन फ्रेमवर्क, align courses, special projects, and also it is recognizing prior learning. Matlab, if you are having any awareness regarding the things that is already going on, so there is an aspect of the recognition of the prior learning also. Lastly, special attention is provided to certain regions which are considered as the so-called backward region, like aspirational district, backward region, border region, tribal region, left wing extremist affected region. Matlab, those regions which are to some extent getting impacted, where the economic things are not able to generate that much amount, so that's where we are focusing more upon. Okay, so this is regarding Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. So with this, we have completed the entire news today discussion for the 7th of November. There must be certain questions that might be on your screen. Try to solve them. Visit on this particular page of current affairs, and I hope that whatever we have discussed along with the applied aspect is clear to you. Now ensure that what kind of question that as I have suggested you, try to think those questions in your mind, and definitely you are going to get a lot of pointer out of these articles in order to substantiate your argument. Okay, so we'll meet again in the next week. Thank you everyone. Have a great day.